You return marks of victory, Hunter. We'll vanquish our foes yet.
Sir, no, sir. Ah, cruel fortune.
Ah, happy tidings.
Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew.
You don't think it's
Again.
infected, do you?
Drink and gamble. That's all we do around here. Hope you fare better, Sauce Hunter.
Sauce Hunter's here too.
You're a sauce hunter, aren't you?
It's a bridge troll.
Face
Get the
furious.
shining
She bit
recruit.
me in the
Sorry,
face.
sir.
Look up.
Hey, who's...
Easy, Tull. That's the Sauce Hunter you're talking to.
She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged.
Bit Tull you right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
I'd say you ought to take her off our hands if you had the space. Though we couldn't guarantee she'd do more than piddle on the floor and maul your furniture.
Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining
It's a dugong. He nearly startled me out of my boots. Well, you've got my attention, comrade. But what'll you do if you stumble upon a cast of enraged source crabs? Well, I reckon I'll grab a pint.
With the dramatics, it's not as bad as all that.
Ice blue eyes, narrow beneath a heavy brow streaked with sweat and dust.
Her brow knits together, but something in her pose relaxes. She clears it.
I am Bear Daughter. I have not come here to find trouble with the Screech woman. She only startled me. And you are a source hunter. I have heard many tales of your order. You're this woman here, the one who now plots her revenge. She crept behind me while I was hunting, and I only defended myself. I would not hurt an innocent Screech woman on purpose. But soon their swords were upon me, and they forced me into this cage meant for dogs. Mother would rip the fur from her chest if she could see how they keep me.
Back to do. Careful, Source Hunter. If I keep my eyes off this cage, the beast's liable to risk an escape. She may have the look. We got report.
Bit tough.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another.
Well, that's to be decided.
Sir, no, sir.
Perhaps it'd be worth taking this stranger under our...
After all,
Well, that's a relief, ain't it? We found a good home for her.
heed me, Source Hunter. She's not good for anything more than cannon fodder.
Attention!
Source Hunter. I have heard tales both grand and in Home Forest. Every creature acts according to the nature of its kind. Birds frighten easily, badgers fear little. But amongst men, there are no guarantees.
Those bolted embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
It is strange to stand with one foot in the forest and the other in the city, Source Hunter. I am glad that now I have you standing beside me. Perhaps in time I will come to know my own kind as you have.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Those bolted embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Those bolted embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Attention! About face!
What have we here, then? A so-called source hunter, eh? Well, look, do what you must in Sicil, but don't make waves and don't interfere. Gods above! Some politician snuffs it and everyone's in an uproar. Ridiculous! I told that wizard brat of an Ahu not to bother, but he just had to send for source hunters, didn't he? Bloody magicians. They see a pigeon poop and think sorcery's afoot. Nevertheless, I want to be kept in the loop. Understand? I am in command of this town, not Mayor Cecil, not Ahu, and definitely not some hotshot sort. The scene of the crime is over at the King Crab Inn. You can tell the guard you have my permission to enter. Esmeralda is Jake's wife. Well, widow. Everyone in town, down to the crabs on the beach, is convinced she killed him. Now, the girl has the reputation of being a flirt. There is that. But that doesn't suffice as evidence, wouldn't you say? Or do source hunters rely on hearsay alone, perhaps? That certainly would explain some of the cock-ups you lot have made in the past. What? You're going to... I'm Captain Aureus, if you must know, leader of the Legion in Sicil. By which I mean I have the enviable task of commanding a battalion of walking dead. For I fear it may well be but a matter of time before the undead undo all my soldiers and turn them into drivelling hordes of their own misshapen number.
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Riverland's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the seven.
Step aside! Ah! This maniac's gonna turn me into a meat pie! Ah!
Come on, chicken, viens chez papa.
A chicken has the right to live too?
Yes, let's pardon him. Just look at...
Yippee-ki-yay!
Why did you let my chicken escape? You let my chicken escape? Looks like it's your lucky day, Jack. Now to tell the troops they're getting nothing but...
I need a moment to reflect. Compassion is the true heart of our mission, and a banner I'm glad to fight for.
With each such
These stalls are for our Legion troops. Riverland's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the seven.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir! No, sir!
Those boats that embarrass a bridge boat. Get the shining recruit.
Sorry.
Do you hear that crinkle? I think someone's got keys in their pocket.
Quiet! No talking to these scoundrels, criminal scum! Oh, thank you.
Embarrass a bridge boat. Get the shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir! No, sir!
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Riverland's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the seven. I'm overheating here.
Baking like a cake.
Feeling hot under the collar.
Did someone leave an oven door open?
Good luck out there, Hunter. Evil lurks beyond Seal's ramparts.
May the seven keep you.
Looks like that dog is awfully agitated.
Perhaps he wants to tell us something.
Hey, wow!
I was wondering where that awesome sweaty boot smell was coming from. And here you are. I'm Murphy, Jake's dog. Wow, you smell great. Have you been rolling around on dead things all day? That's my favourite hobby too. You know who I miss? Jake. Sometimes he'd just sit there being awesome. And I'd give him this look like, you smell great. And he'd give me this look like, you do too, Murphy. I came here so I could smell Jake again. He smelled great. But whatever's buried there doesn't smell like Jake at all. No, it's definitely not Jake. He was a... If I ever find out who killed Jake, the most awesome Jake who ever jaked, I'll bark so much. Seriously, so much. You have no idea.
Peace be with you, traveller. May your lost loved ones... I once lived a prosperous life with my husband and our happy little daughter, Loney. But when Loney never recovered from the loss, and when a group of mercenaries, predators, more aptly called, came to town dangling the opportunity to annihilate those undead devils, Loney lapped up... She was killed less than a week after she joined. Here she lies.
This dog we met, how true a creature he is. How loyal and unwavering in its affections. His master is dead, but not even this, not even nature's great betrayal of animals. Dog and deer, elk and eagle. We burden and butcher them, wretches that we are. These pillars of creation, we topple them, though their spirits are so very pure. They are. They do not scheme. They do not deceive. Perfidy. That is the human condition. This kind, this trusty beast. He is man's best friend, though man does not deserve one. Wise word, I know. In the this dog.
Rest in peace,
I
darling.
smell rotten lamb chops.
Here lies James, as usual, the filthy fibber. Here lies Kavanagh. Will they have Sicil pie in the afterlife?
Jake, where are you? Are you here, Jake? Jake!
Here lies Jake. Please do not disturb.
May the seven keep you.
What trickery is this? That's
Jake?
not Jake.
Where are you?
It's a rotting
Are
sheep's
you here,
corpse.
Jake?
It seems someone snatched Jake's body.
Jake? Where are you? Are you here, Jake? Jake!
May the seven keep you.
What trickery is this? That's not Jake.
It's a rotting sheep's corpse. It seems someone snatched Jake's
Here
body.
lies Nemris, master of philosophy. Here lies David, who ran from the Reaper. You'll never catch me alive.
May the seven keep you.
I smell rotten lamb chops.
Look here, even a sage and author as renowned as I is flattered when mortals dare among the dead to seek him out. Well, as if I need introduction. Nemris, the thinker, the theorist, the... Oh, I've written so many celebrated treatises. But of course you have... There isn't a civilized soul alive that hasn't perused its profound pages percolating with perspicacity. You can, and indeed you must. But alas, I was not buried with a printed version of that blueprint of genius that is my inimitably esteemed essay. Never fear, though, for each and every library in Revellon boasts a copy. Do you truly feel you are ready? Then between life and death, death is the greater force. So argues the clergyman.
Are you playing without me?
Of course not.
Correct. He is...
Let us proceed. Life is life's own goal. The question that is itself the answer. Good. Now I am unburdened of all worries.
I should say...
Agreed.
Last query. Boldly do I scorn the bonds of faith and fear.
Keep you.
Your undoing.
So it is.
Hopes and up. A combination of words I've long since forgone to couple, let alone put into action. And before me stands a living proof why. Begone, ignoramus. Have you not insulted me enough?
Here lies Nemris, master of
Perhaps death
philosophy.
itself shall teach you more about...
The outskirts of Sicil are infested with undead! Are you the extra...
I sing the Holy Electric.
Hammers into the earth!
Summon Spider!
My heart beats too slowly to sustain me.
Meet your demise!
Taste of the gathering storm. silence awaits you.
I'm tripping.
I feel better already. Bless the seven, I am restored.
Do you like wells? There are a few around Sicil, though one has gone tragically missing. Poor old...
Sweet relief.
You see a shady-looking figure fishing coins of gold out of the muddy water that pools beneath the well overhead. His movements are quick and nervous, but nevertheless, he seems to enjoy stuffing what cash he can find into the many pockets of his shabby... So absorbed is he in his coin hoarding that at first he doesn't notice your presence. Suddenly, though, he pauses, looks up, and quick as a cat its talons, readies 2 daggers. Your friendly tone of voice has immediate effect. The man quickly relaxes his aggressive stance, sheathes his weapons, and pulls a quill and a scrap of parchment out of one of his pockets. Dexterously, he writes down a couple of phrases, then holds it out for you to read.
Mute. Can't speak. You look professional. You the source hunter the wizard asked for?
Excitedly, the man turns over the scrap and pens a few more lines.
Name's Walgraf. I admire you. No hero like source hunter. Sicil, dead end. Please let me join you.
Walgraf nods enthusiastically and pulls a couple of ripped parchment pieces out from his vestments. Hastily, he covers them with words and pushes them in your hands, one after the other.
Been mute since I was a kid. Sorcerers took my voice. People think I'm stupid. I'm not. Get money, food where I can. Steal if I must. Not from poor folks. I'm a good sneak, good fighter, good with logs. See things you don't. Want to help you. I'm useful. Want to catch sorcerers. Make 'em pay. Please.
Walgraf notices there's no room left in your party and shrugs his shoulders.
I assume you address me for a reason, so go on. Do you now? Yours is this mistake to make, Hunter, and yours is the opportunity to set it right. Until then...
Walgraf looks at you. Walgraf nods enthusiastically and pulls a couple...
Been mute since I was a kid. Get money. Want to help you. I'm used...
Walgraf eagerly catches your gaze with the best puppy eyes imitation.
I could use someone with your specific type of expertise. Consider yourself hired.
Be welcome, Woolgraf.
Woolgraf smiles and shakes your hand in thanks. With a gesture of the arm, he seems to say, "I'm ready. Lead the way."
What can I do for you? Do you now?
You see a shape of the Woolgraf.
I could
be what?
With a simple nod, the rogue seems to say, "Shoot."
Show your strength!
I'm dripping.
I see a trap nearby.
Soaking spray!
I'm drenched!
Walgrave spotted something.
Look out! I see a trap nearby.
Into the fray once more.
Careful, I've spotted a trap.
Wolfram suddenly motions a sign of warning. There's a dangerous spot somewhere around here.
Dead men can't jail anyone. There's a man in town who sells paintings and treasure maps. Do you think he knows the way to the realm of fairy?
Wargraf spotted something.
Plenty of fish in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my rack.
Halt! Well, I'll be a little red in. You can see security's tighter than ever around here, since that we can only hope to hold back. You don't look like you're quite ready to head out into the wilds to me. You may... I certainly hope...
The Sicilians retreated from this battle. But what about the orcs?
Either they've taken to the sea or set up an encampment in yonder caves. Keep your weapon at the ready.
What do you think you're doing? Well, it's no bone off my nose, Chasm, in any case. Have a look through my wares if you'd like to find something already wiped clean of orc ooze. My prices won't disappoint.
no one's around. You wouldn't raise a fuss if I, borrowed one of...
Borrow, indeed. I'll sooner meet a cat wizard than see that merchant repaid.
Come now, I'll be good for it, I swear. I never would have dreamt of resorting to petty theft during better times. But what choice have I got now? If it's steal or starve, oh, my story's tired by now. I was happy enough, prosperous enough, before these lean times around Sicil began. Still, so what do you think? Should I...
Everyone needs a hand now and...
True enough.
That's the spirit! Or should I say, the...
I can't even smell the sea air over this rot.
Well, tuck my tail and call me Bessie. 2 feet addressing me directly. Oh, me and my brother Bull have dragged this here cart all around Sicil, from dock to... Speaking of Bull, you ought to say hello to him. He's clairvoyant, you know.
I'm seeing 2 feet. I'm Bull, the leading clairvoyant. Of course, most winsome 2 feet. Of course. Well, that depends, 2 feet. That depends. I see that love has caused you to falter and... death. I see. That's all for today.
Don't forget the time you got caught passing a love note to the Mr. Council's wife.
Is that why we never sail the Gilded Floor anymore?
Speaking of youthful gore, that loopy legionnaire really thinks that orky charm loves him.
I wouldn't let Norway 500 yards of my loving nature.
Psst. Ever hear about the time the captain took the Duchess of Federal's carriage for the joyride?
Have you found us a job yet? We'll take anything, really. The Fabulous Five, eh? That sounds like just the right opportunity.
Mr. Councilor's wife.
Is that why we never sail the Gilded Floor anymore?
Sir, did you just steal that fish?
No, I paid for it. The merchant.
You were a witness to this event now?
Sheep's cheese? Tomatoes?
This man is telling the truth.
Quite so.
I can't thank you enough for...
Well...
Tell me, Alistair, have you ever had...
Never saw you in the king crab before. You're welcome to scratch me. I am Unsinkable Sam. At least that's what they call me around here. Used to be a ship's cat, but the clipper I was on sank when I was the only one to wrestle himself free from the waves. The people here were kind and took me in. Been the king crab's foremost patron ever since. A magnificent ship she was. Used to belong to a pirate, I was told. Unlike me, she didn't prove to be unsinkable, though. We hit the cliffs right neath the lighthouse. Not very apt a name for that building, I must say, for the moment I hit the water, I writhed around like I would on a hot tin roof. By some miracle, I managed to reach the beach, covered in kelp and smelling worse than a fish's funeral parlor. But I was alive, and that was more than anybody else could say. So I was. What friends I had. They drowned alongside the rats I used to hunt in the galley. And there I was, all alone. Not that I have it bad here, mind you. I've milk and fish aplenty. Most folks will pet me kindly, and when one of the village girls holds me tight against her ample bosom, I purr up a storm. But I do long for a companion of my own kind, and in that regard, there is no one like Maxine. Maxine, the mayor's darling pet. So gentle, so fair a feline. The grace of her whiskers, the subtle palette of dyes in her sable coat. She likes me. I know she does. But when I declare my love, she backs away. I don't know why. I have serenaded her and braved many a bucket of water for my efforts. But for some reason, she, by all means. People make a fuss about them because they endanger the lands around the city. Ugh.
Greetings, Source Hunter. Not exactly the friendliest bloke, the captain, is he?
Sweet relief!
Welcome back, Source Hunters. I've been eagerly expecting you. You found another Starstone, haven't you? Ha-ha! Mere child's play when you know what to look for, and luckily, I do. Do you remember when you first arrived on this plane? When the door... It's happened again, my friend. Another portal has... It's all connected somehow. You don't imagine that I'd presume to explore it before you? No, I'm sure it's nothing. It's just that beyond the portal, I sense a presence that I can't quite account for. It is at once powerful and faint. Perhaps only a shadow, perhaps more. But this is only speculation, of course. Come.
An impressive room.
So it is. A hall fit for kings.
You. It cannot be you. But it can only be you. But oh, how weak you have become. As weak as you used to be strong. Look about you. You used to lead, and now you follow. That it has come to this.
He won't believe me, the fiend. But they have come, as I prayed they would. Could they save me yet? Is there still hope?
Woolgraf spotted something.
Well, wouldn't you look fine with a strapping warrior at your side? Or is it mages you prefer? An eagle? Of course, Chief.
Who do you think that creature in there was?
I haven't the foggiest. But the eerie bit is that she seemed to know us.
Woolgraf stands awestricken by the tapestry of time. Even if he had a voice, you know he wouldn't find words for its majesty.
Never could I have dreamed of something so fantastic. Isn't it beautiful, my friend?
It shall be my...
Beyond these walls, the dead roam free, Hunter. Be vigilant.
How can the Legion serve you today, Sauce? You don't look like you're quite ready to head out into... I sincerely hope...
water, show your strength!
Rest in peace, darling.
I'd prefer to drown my sorrows with ale.
Rest in peace, darling.
Beyond these walls, the dead roam free, Hunter. Be vigilant.
I'm warm as
Honored
crack
to
apple.
meet you.
Nemrith is the greatest philosopher in the land, you know. I'd give me
You're a source hunter, aren't you? They
Good luck with these Sicilian sauce hunter.
Toasty.
Drink and gamble, that's all we do.
Know much about zombies, do ya? How about walking bones?
About time the council took notice.
These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving 7.
Source hunter. A sight for sore eyes, if ever there was one. I know you're probably knee-deep in that awful murder investigation, but we've been conducting a series of expeditions into undead territory, and I'm afraid I must admit they've met with very little success. Lieutenant Selenia, at your service. I'm Captain Aureus' second-in-command. Now, I certainly don't mind a bit of healthy competition, and even rivalry between our orders, but I, for one, have no intent... And that is exactly what your presence in Sicil is, Source Hunter. I shall be very glad to share what information I can give you. If ever we want to be victorious in Sicil, we have to track down the root of the undead uprising. 3 landmarks were chosen for further investigation. There's a light. The locals say there are ancient burial grounds to be found north of the city. A local archaeologist offered to tag along with the men. Here's hoping his knowledge on the subject may prove to be... There's a church to the northeast of here, built atop the very place where once stood a temple dedicated to the source. All superstitious mumbo-jumbo, if you ask me. But when the dead rose, so I did. The Pact of Volunteers. Many Legionnaires will do whatever it takes to go home, which is why I personally... The chances of survival during these sorties are the undead, the bravest among...
Sir, no, sir.
Those books and embellish that bridge crow. Get the shiny
Can you spare a coin?
Best in Sicil! The best!
You there! You look like an actor just waiting for his big debut.
Pay the big cheese on your book for the will of the good stuff.
Ah, gracious patron, I see your tired eyes looking a bit teary. I've just the potion for that. Or would you prefer a toasty fire spell to dry those...
Not in the mood for cheese. Excuses for home.
Toe of snake, wing of worm, brew and spice 'em, stir and churn.
Well, hello there.
Join the snack club if you've got an eye for barter,
Eager imbeciles to be sent to the northern cave.
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward won't be lying.
glorious to see you once more, fair. She showed us you may steal by following what they go.
He says he's an immaculate. But I thought they'd been banished after the death of the Source King.
Wargrave hands Barebottom a note. Sorcerers still abound, my forest friend. Here I stand, living proof of their wickedness.
I dare say. The hunter returns! I hope you are here to shop rather than sleuth. Listen, if you're going to accuse me of something, you would... Oh, don't put stock in the hastily scribbled words of a lovelorn fool! This letter, it was a show of passion. A poorly worded passion I did not echo in the least. The Duke, he's like a spoiled child. He's not a man. He's not like Septimus. I am as stop. Do you mean, well, what can you tell? I've heard...
Legion's greetings, Hunter. You claim to possess evidence that implicates Lady Esmeralda in the murder of her husband? Well, let's have it then. There now, she was stringing Ferrol along. Ha! A pampered brat, that Duke, just like she says. Barks worse than his bite, no doubt. He'll be gone from here the instant he can, but I'll still be here, steadfast and by Milady's side. So fair a lady I have seldom seen in steadfast will I...
Assure me, dear Septimus, that you haven't been fighting those awful orcs.
assume you address me for a reason, so go on. Speak. Good. No use in standing about.
You call to Walgraf. Walgraf gives...
The Duke of Ferrol is the worst poet in Rivellon.
In his defense, not much rhymes with murder.
I assume you address me for a reason, only Daemon Daemonium, do you now?
You call to Walgraf. He awaits your queries. A wide smile showing all...
Not here, not now. We'll be better off speaking in the privacy of the cellar. There are eyes and ears.
It won't be the worst.
I give milk. I give wool. And what do I get in return? One way or another, they always try to fleece me. Especially that Evelyn. She's out to get me. I know it.
Moo! Don't disturb Master Theliron now. He's been so...
To what do I owe the repeated pleasure, Source Hunter? Well, she certainly possesses a critical eye, and I expect she'll be a very successful... Certainly, what would you like to know? I've implied... I declare the Councillor, from what I can tell...
Hello again. That strange reaction you caused. Blue lightning from... I've been studying under Theliron for some time now. I've a
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese.
bleeding waste standing here without so much as a...
What?
What's the point anymore?
best in Sightseal! The best!
Ah, happy tidings. Oh, I am a happy man. And a fool once was I, and ever seeking greater satisfaction than that which I already enjoyed. In my folly, I sought the counsel of those notorious Watcher statues on the western cliffs. Their guidance ruined any small fortune I might have had. I'd heard they were not to be trusted, that they gave fools advice to the fools who sought them, but they told me that I would find fame and renown if I renounced my worldly possessions. All my worldly fire, the most thorough cleanser, was my method. But as my house burned in front of me, I felt no elevation, no piety, only the sudden weight of my own idiocy upon my very...
Welcome back to Sightseal, Hunter. The Legion greets you.
Source Hunter, welcome, welcome. What? I'd never. If you must know, I was merely... What a delight she is. The temperament of a tiger, the grace of a leopard, and the manners of a lady all rolled into one. A perfect puss, if ever there was one. But certainly. What would you like to know? Oh, but that's not a trick. Such to be up. But of course it's handy to speak in more than meows. And I couldn't brew potions or make machines without opposable...
Liberté, equality, and brotherhood for all will turn the...
You, again. What about it? Well, have you found any incriminating evidence against her? If so, I see. You've come to report a dead sheep. A heap of mutton that sailed into view. Well, don't just stand there gawking like guppies. Hie yourself to Roberts the mortician. If anyone buried a sheep, obviously it was him.
Sorry, sir.
Greetings! These stores are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving the seven.
Potent heat!
Did some... Nemesis is the...
Warmest dragon's breath!
Good look out there, Hunter. Evil lurks beyond Sightseal Ramp.
That rooster thinks he's such hot stuff. Post.
Fancy that! A source hunter barging in when the lady of the house is fully dressed. Who could have fathomed such a thing?
the force challenging your fable usually uncontained.
So, what's the bad news? A sheep? That's a whole heap of nonsense. Don't bother me with such what. Why should I help those louts? Most of them would do anything. Enough of that bloody business.
What you get for trying?
The death
So,
knows
what's the bad news? Enough of that bloody business. If you're just going...
As a squirrel himself.
There now, she was stringing Ferrol.
Toe of snake, wing of worm, brew and spice 'em, stir and churn.
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lying in your pocket.
So, what's the bad news? A sheep. I suppose you're right. A corpse is one thing, but I couldn't stand to have the disappearance of a living soul on my conscience. I buried that blasted sheep, but I swear on my lucky left foot I had nothing to do with that body disappearing. 1 minute it was on my slab, you see. I left the room for just a moment to answer the bell in the front parlour, and when I returned, in its place was a sack containing more gold coins than I could even count. The message was clear. My business has been declining right alongside the rest of our blighted city. And that sack of gold was worth more than I made during one of the good years. I needed cash, and someone needed... I knew I had to bury something or risk being found out. So that night, I stole into the market and made off with Bertia's fattest sheep. It was a bloody waste to stick so much fine meat into the ground to rot, but it had to be done. The next day, the pallbearers retrieved Jake's coffin, sealed to hide the body's terrible wounds, none the wiser that within the casket lay nothing more venerable than a slaughtered. Now, you can imagine I've spent more than my share of restless nights wondering who could have wanted that cadaver and for what purpose. I'm not an inch closer to imagining the why. Plenty of us shopkeepers entrust the mayor with the spare keys to our businesses, you know. And he's the only person in town with a second copy of the key to the mortuary. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep, if he were so inclined. Aureus himself paid me a visit the night the body was delivered. Came rapping at my door in the frosty morning before the sun had even started peeping, and told me to tell him, and only him, if I noticed anything strange or suspicious about the remains. Can't see why he'd bothered to go through all that trouble, unless he knew something the rest of us don't. I know it sounds strange suspecting the doctor's apprentice of something so ghoulish as this, but there's few in this city could manage to transport a corpse without raising eyebrows. It was she who delivered Jake's body from the inn to the mortuary. And there was something about her that night, some kind of excitement. Seemed she could barely contain her thoughts, that there was something thrilling about to happen. I can't quite settle it in my mind how a young medical professional would have such a strange reaction to an occasion such as that. And this may or may not have anything to do with the whole rigmarole. But her master, Dr. Theleron, bought an old shack of mine, one overtaken by undead, for an exorbitant price considering what he was getting. I never did figure what he wanted it for, but he sure seemed eager. I never saw a widow less distraught at the death of her husband, and I've seen hundreds pass through my... It was she who rang my bell just before the body was snatched, lured me outside claiming she needed air before discussing the funeral arrangements. Some accomplice could have sneaked in and grabbed the remains while I was comforting the oh-so-overcome Esmeralda. That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it. Well, with all the troubles plaguing Sicil, I suppose us natives ought to put our finest feet forward. Here, take the gold.
The death man is nervous as a squirrel. I'm certain he's hiding something.
Wargraf seems nervous as a squirrel himself. Corpse houses, as he tends to call
So,
them.
what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent another... Like I said, I'm sure as sin not the ghoul response. Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make... I just concern myself with giving the remain... I never imagined myself thanking some strangers for taking my money. But in the end... What?